better. Good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You
I'm
good.
doing directly to my thing.
I'm decent. My background ain't loud or no shit, is it?
No, it's fine.
All right. Bet.
All right, y'all. What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode. Everybody hates black men, and I am here for a great announcement. So make sure y'all share this link. I'm sharing it, obviously in my current Discord. Into my current Discord. And this is not going to be up forever. Like, this will be up for a couple of days so people can get the word out. But ultimately, there's other stuff. There's a marketing side of this I want to build out and everything. But anyway, this is very important. It's an important update. Something we should have did a while ago, but we're doing it now, so you know how it is. And this is, it's kind of a channel update, but it's really more so with Compassion and Callus's channel. So Compassion and Callus recently got not only 10,000 subscribers on TikTok, that was a while ago, but he actually got 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And as a result, one of the things that I've been harping about for a long time, and being, lazy about it, and I've been telling y'all about it, is, the need for us to aggregate this information in such a way that is focused and in such a way that can have a more collective impact. I know a lot of y'all want to get in the game and stop wanting to be necessarily like, background characters and people taking our ideas and stuff like that. I've had you all talk about that. Also, you all have talked about the lack of getting notifications when people go live, how YouTube wants to do what it wants to do and all that stuff, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. Some of y'all have talked about wanting to get more in the mix when it comes to TikTok. And rather than us wasting time, because look, let's keep it real. A lot of us are getting on the older end, when it comes to 30s and stuff. Yeah, I'll send you the link to the Discord. I saw the email. I'll send you a link to the Discord because I'm actually going to drop the link to the other thing too. And then I'll email you a link to my Discord. So y'all want to get more in the mix rather than being reactionary. And also probably the biggest thing that I've seen people talk about is black men want to talk about stuff other than just quote unquote women. Or there's other stuff that obviously we're multifaceted. There's other stuff we want to talk about, whether it's music, some of y'all anime on the younger end, music, sports, money, coding, crypto, all that stuff. Travel has been talked about. And y'all want a space that allows you to be able to talk about these things in a way that you're comfortable with when it comes to your privacy, when it comes to your and then the other thing too is there's people that are engaged in the space that I talk to in voice notes all the time. However, for different reasons, they want to not be put out there necessarily as a content creator or necessarily on a panel, but they they will go on panels, but they don't want to constantly be on panels. But they do want to engage in the space and they want to add to the space. And a lot of these people have a lot to add. All of y'all have unique talents and ideas and viewpoints, as well as skill sets and perspectives, whether it's different regions that you all in the United States. For instance, Compassion Callus is in the, Chicago. I'm from Chicago. LAR is, I'm not trying to doubt you. LAR is in Texas. We'll say states. Texas. You got the California contingent. Artemis Dale, Star, Red Supreme, BGS. You got, ironically, there's more people in North Carolina than you think. Jada Black is out of South Carolina also. So you'd be surprised. Obviously, you got folks in Atlanta. So we got quite a few folks in Detroit. So it's in New York. So it's on the ground stuff that we can kind of give context to and kind of regulate with each other. And there's Discord has been around for a minute. In fact, let me
say this too while you pause it.
Yes.
This is us upping the ante on, because essentially what gave this space is relevancy, and what continues to give this space is power and ability, is the ability for us to communicate, obviously, and aggregate and interact. That's why it's interactive media is the future. And this platform, what Ed is going to pitch, or we both are pitching, is that this platform is going to expand the capabilities of viewers and participants in the space, not just content creators, but guys who watch the space. And like you said, a lot of guys are just in the clouds all the time. That's not necessarily chiming in, they're commenting, but all you guys really can do now is comment. And we've shared a lot of ideas through comments and, like, you know, back channel emails and guys linking up on their own. But we want to kind of open that capacity up for the whole space to be able to, as the think tank that we've kind of developed here, to have on the user side a lot more capabilities and capacity to get closer to the creators and discuss more and just build on this. So that's how I'm conceptualizing part of what Ed is describing. But go ahead, bro.
No, absolutely. And that's really good. And also, and yeah, that's, you know, I almost want to talk about this, like, you know, when Samuel Jackson was talking about with Avengers, there was an idea, you know, and this he said 61K on TikTok and still didn't have me a Don street key. It's crazy because they're like giving random people stream keys, because I have like 400 and they gave me one. But anyway, as far as inspirational, but this will allow us to kind of take certain assets that people have, whether people, because some people are bigger in Instagram than you would think. Some people are bigger, like Marty is actually pretty big on Instagram. Some people are big in different social medias that we might not think about. Some people are bigger on TikTok. You know, you had Yes Jonas and stuff like that. They're more familiar with that. And then obviously we were talking about a while ago trying to do a TikTok live. So this is going to allow us to more effectively do stuff. Understand something. I want to be very clear here. This is not like a closet. This technically, Compassion Callus is the official owner of the Discord. I'm gonna say that it's under his phone number. It's under his. This is not my disc. Do I have I have probably I have pretty much rights to do everything. You know, so I'm gonna just be upfront with y'all, and then maybe a couple of people to get at. There's gonna be like moderators. There's gonna be like inner circle people, moderator people, and those will have different roles and have different abilities. But this is not my Discord. I have my own Discord, and so this is not an extension of my own Discord. This is about the community first, which means there's probably gonna be people I don't really like in the Discord as well. But it's for the community. Now, granted, if people just want to wild out, then, you know, that can be handled. But definitely debate. It's definitely going to be debating the topics and the ideas and all of that. That's not going to be an issue. There's not going to be absolute room for that, not just comment wise, because the difference between y'all being able to do comments and y'all can share links now, photos and stuff like that. That's also good. This will give you our ability to do that. This will give you our ability to have direct access to us rather than going through email all the time from your phone. And be clear, Discord doesn't take over your phone or anything crazy like that. Discord has been around for years. It was originally created for gamers to kind of aggregate, but, you know, in a kind of hallway in between games. That's what it was actually built to do. Just like Twitch was built to do streaming for video games. So that's what, so a lot of younger people are familiar with it, but people our age that are like in the 35 plus may not be as familiar with Discord unless you're on the internet all the time. We're content creators, so we're going to be on the internet more. Also, this is also for people, I'm going to call them white pill people, and I'm going to call them green pill people. Green pill people are people that are not really familiar with the space. They're not online like that, and they're not familiar with this space. They don't know what to think. They may have an idea about what red pill is based on what they heard, based on the negative propaganda. Like, we're going to go for the sake of purposes, we're really going to go with called Black Manosphere. We're not really going to promote the red pill like that, because if you say red pill, they're all not going to think stuff. When in actuality, we are black first in here, as far as black men first. So, so that's more accurate to who we are. Yeah, we understand the red pill is truth, but I'm not trying to gangbang for the red pill when really the Black Manosphere is what this stuff was built on. It wasn't built on what white boys do with red pill. So we don't need to defend that. Now, I'm not going to talk shit against it. And we got to explain what it is. We explain what it is, but obviously our experience is not just the red pill. Our experience is unique in that way. But so green pill people are people that are not familiar. People that, you talk to at the barbershop, you talk to this, but they may not be on the internet all the time. They may not know. That's what also makes this good about this being on your phone. This may be people that don't even interact in the YouTube community from a manosphere, even female perspective.
Yep.
So those are green pill people, and this is going to be gauged to them. This is going to be designed to educate those people and inform those people. Not indoctrinate, but educate. Give them, because, we believe in the truth above all things. If the truth is you niggas want shit, that's what I would be saying. And just like how in a lot of ways, the truth is a big reason why the matriarchy exists is because black men, the apathy of black men and the guilt of black men. And if black
Yeah.
men actually aggregate together, even in a small way, like when I say a small way, I'm actually going to do a video about this, but I call it the law 1%, the law 10%. You know, it's 44 million black people in the United States. You know, you cut that in half, it's about 22 million black males. You cut that in half again, it tends to be more children than adults, but cut that in half again, you have about let's see, 22 million, yeah, 11 million. You take out like, and obviously people that aren't tethers, that y'all may not be from here, but y'all know what the assignment is. Y'all good, you know who you know. It's 11 million, and then if you look at like people that are going to be active, you know, in this, then we could do like a good 8 million. Now you take that and you look at 1% of 8 million is 80,000. So 80,000 focused people can deal with 800,000 semi-focused people, meaning people that understand where we're coming from. And 800,000 focused people, which would be 10%, can deal with the remainder of the people. And then obviously that can deal with the children. That's really that's how far we are. It's not that far. Yeah. It's not as far as you think. And the other thing I'm going to say, too, is that thing that I said about the barbershop. There's 30,000 barbershops in the United States of America. Imagine in the top, like, 50 cities that are Black-centric, we basically had access to that. It's not as far of a gap as you think.
Go ahead. It's not. Let me piggybacking off of that. The purpose, so why I created this Discord or had the idea for it had a lot more experience in it, so we collaborated on it, is my channel. The reason why I established my channel, and basically all my channel is shorts of creators from the Black Manosphere, is because I recognized, and like to your point of the green pill people, we're all surrounded by green pill people. Green pill people would be your best friend, but he's not on YouTube, he's not in the space. But y'all talk about things, and you probably educate him constantly on all the shit you've learned about your Black experience and just global politics, economics that you get from this space. But it's hard to introduce him to this space. So the reason why I started my channel and started clipping, and my whole mission behind that was, before my channel, I got tired of trying to send green pill people, my acquaintances that knew about these things anecdotally by being around me, 4-hour-long streams of random ass niggas they ain't never heard of, and they don't know what this is, and they never listened to it. So I said, fuck it. All right, I'm gonna try to take highlights out of those, and then I'm gonna send them to them niggas, and maybe that'll make niggas curious to go into you guys, the content creators pages, and then go through all those hour-long conversations and shit. So this is another extension of that, to Ed's point, to your point, Ed, of the green pill. This will allow you to actually maybe introduce people that's not gonna hop on a Mr. Z or Ed's panel and is not familiar with BGS, doesn't understand the framework, doesn't understand none of this, which I'm sure you probably keep this space from a lot of people you know because of that, because it will require just way too much of you. You're too far ahead and they're too far behind, so you can't even really introduce them to it. So this will allow for you to actually introduce maybe your little brother or your friend he's not a tech guy, he's not going to be listening to YouTube all day, to the space through a different medium, through a different platform, and through an easier, more digestible, coherent, slower drips, or more digestible drips of what we do in this space to grow this. So, but I just wanted to say that, but go ahead.
No, absolutely. And so, y'all need to think of this, y'all like that green pill. We adding yet another pill, right? Green pill. Like that. You green, you don't know shit. You don't know what you don't know. And that's actually I need to record, get that clip where you soundbite where you said, I'm too far, you too far behind, and I'm too far ahead. That sounds like arrogant ass shit.
It is some arrogant ass shit, but it is real, because I didn't ran into it, because I be wanting, and I know I'm not the only one. Again, that's why I started my channel, was to actually be able to communicate something to these people without saying, look, nigga, listen to this 4-hour stream. That wasn't working. So that was my intention with that. And this is an evolution from that we even becoming platform agnostic as a space. We actually being able to interact as a think tank, because the viewers and you guys that don't make content are just as much part of the think tank as the creators. we all do. We send these guys clips, but it's all kind of random and adjunct and kind of not like Z doesn't know Ed has a clip that, and Ed doesn't know Z has a clip that somebody sent him. So we can kind of integrate that and actually become way more effective than we already kind of are. So yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah.
absolutely. Like you take Mr. Z, and Mr. Z, you know, we call him the manosphere social worker. And I can't stand dealing with listening to these chicks. He can, so he can aggregate the best of what those chicks were saying as far as clips or people that do what Mr. C does. Like I think it's Red, not Red Supreme, but it's Red something. You know who you are. He's on Art and Assault a lot, and he'll listen to these people on Clubhouse, which is something even Z won't do. Even Z has his limits too. You know, these Clubhouse broads, and this is stuff where we can aggregate stuff and we can have conversations just like them chicks. You know, we get a compilation. Remember, I told you about that compilation, that mega file compilation, and what these crazy stuff these chicks be saying.
Yeah.
And we can give context to that. Also, another thing is there's a lot of dudes that I deal with that have voice notes that all I gotta do is run the voice notes through like a voice changer and stuff. It'd be real game. It'd be real game, real insight of real information in real time. What's going on in the ground? I'm not talking about like stuff, not necessarily I'm talking about real situations they dealing with, and some of this shit is crazy. And it's from a couple of people. Some of this stuff is crazy. One thing I'll speak on, because Marty has spoke on it, is like some of the stuff that Marty has run to on the ground as far as dealing with black people in Brazil versus dealing with white people in Brazil versus dealing with mestizos, and it's always a problem, and and, you know, and different stories. These things can, you know, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm just no.
Okay, you do the I'm thinking my audio. You do the voice changer. So my point is, just think of it like the original Avengers, where in you know, you had that commercial. In fact, I may do a clip where I do like there was an idea of having a centralized location where we can aggregate information. So it's an educational component. Where we aggregate not just our channels, but like the channels that talk about geopolitics. So when BGS is saying something, you have a video that kind of more context to that. It's on another channel. So you know where to get the information rather than just wasting time sifting through it. You know, you have a situation where communion can happen, where some of y'all want to talk about sports, some of y'all want to talk about game, some of y'all want to talk about hoes. And so, there's places for that. I have a thing called the BBL Thought Corner where these niggas upload hoes they like and blah, blah, blah. And they have done a great job keeping it just there. I had one new dude went in there, and that dude almost lost his mind. He's like, "Is this what we're about?" And blah, blah, blah. I said, "No. Fuck shit I put on a certain channel, and they have been very, very good about keeping the fuck shit on that channel, in that channel, and not going out of it." And the nigga was literally crashing out, like, arguing with people about, and there's certain people that kind of gravitate towards that. So I'm not in there like that. Although on the low, I do be using that as a way of like using it as a basis on some of my AI stuff, which is ironic. And they don't even know that, but you know, so it's like them aggregating. So there's always usefulness for everything. But we may not have that, but we'll definitely have. We know you niggas love talking about game, and this will allow us to kind of, rather than doing a back and forth video to video responses, you can do real time stuff and have these conversations that'll be more enriching. And then another thing we're going to do is going to have surveys, because it's like Google Forms and shit like that, where you can do surveys, and then we'll get more of what you all actually looking for. We can do questions on what y'all have. And this is not, and another thing, so it's gonna be a lot of stuff. Another thing I'll give you an example for is if we can aggregate certain amount of people, we can point them to a particular piece of a link or post. So for example, if we know that we can get like 300 or 400 people, let's say one person usually get like 150, 200. And we can get like, let's take a Fantastic, for example, not just because I want to take me out of it. Is, you know, Fantastic does like 150 to maybe 300, and he has Tommy on there and stuff like that, because we know a lot of y'all niggas like Tommy, whatever. You know, imagine if you could put another 400 or 500 people on there. So now it's like 600 people on there. People, it doesn't take a lot of live viewers to actually attract bigger creators. Also, there's a thing on Cash App called Cash App Pool. Let's say you want to get a bigger person. I'm not gonna say who, but Compassion reached out to a bigger creator, and a bigger creator was willing to do it, but he wanted some hundreds of dollars, not just a couple of $100. The thing is, though, if he could see that we can do 1,000 live viewers on any individual like video, like I'm talking about like live viewers on an audience, because we have like a consistent thing, and it may be stuff that established. You got Roger, you got Z's weekend thing, you got Roger's panel, you got BGS's like daily stuff plus his AMA question panels. You know, you got
Art New Style Friday.
Yeah, Art New Style's weekly thing. And Art New Style got Jaguar Wright on his stuff. And Jaguar Wright ended up, BGS actually did an interview with Jaguar Wright on top of that. See, people forgot about that. Now, see, we can go back and get that, right? And say, look, so Jaguar Wright is here. He talked to BGS. It gives credibility. We can go back to the shit with Amazing Lucas when he was acting goofy as hell. You can attract those types of things. Remember with Bernard. Bernard didn't have none of this behind him. Remember, Bernard had Destiny. Destiny ended up talking to Angry Man. Destiny is worth like $40 million. You know, Destiny has a whole network of like of people that actually make. He's almost kind of like Lead Attorney, but a bigger scale, because he has people under him that came up under him with the breadtube stuff. A lot of these conversations around politics, because remember, this is a political year. I know Sebastian Callis can talk about that billboard thing he was talking about. Obviously, you got people like PBT, Jason Black. There's certain conversations that can be had, even certain debates. This is not us trying to take over the space. This is us basically creating a wall and aggregating the space in such a way where a lot of what we do just doesn't come in the ether or you yell at your phone. It can create certain stuff. There are certain benefits certain creators can have, but this is not going to be a just link extraction. This thing's going to be community first. I have seen Discord. Like, I'll give you an example, and I hate to throw this number out, but I've seen Discords. Andrew Tate had a Discord 250,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's there's people, and there are people, and it was an active. It wasn't just it was an active community, but it also is what he ran his Hustler 2.0 thing through. And so it's education. Like when we look at the stuff that BGS talk about when it comes to certain books, SWP has actually written a book. I don't know if you all know this. Yeah. So now I've looked at a couple of pages of it, but that's something that you can put that. Like Grinch has a book. You know, The Ratchet's Roots. Alan Roger Curry, RIP, has a book. You know,
Dr. Hassan has a book. Dr. Hassan has a book. Dr. Neil has a book. And if we could mark, to your point, people, we don't realize it. I mean, because obviously Discord is well known for younger generations. These streamers and these people with large platforms use Discord to be able to marshal their communities to anywhere they want. And we want to have that. If you want to support the space, you want to give this space the power to marshal all of us to activate anything we want. And we all know about it at the same exact time, and it all comes to our phone, and YouTube don't block some of the notifications and not send half the it's none of that bullshit, which is done by design to make us less efficient. So this is just a natural evolution using the existing technology that Kai Cenat and all these motherfuckers that are getting hundreds of thousands of live viewers are using the same exact method and technology. So it's not we're not inventing the wheel here. Yeah.
Because they grew up with it. A lot of y'all know what WhatsApp is. A lot of y'all at this point know what chat groups is. This is like this is one part Reddit for black men because of the server. This is one part a barbershop. This is one part think tank. And so, you know, and it depends on what you want to participate in. And this allows you to participate as deeply as you want to. This is not something that's going to require a Patreon for you all to get into. There is no money being required to do this. There is no email required to being able to do this. And this will allow, if you all have certain creators, because a lot of y'all be sending me people y'all swear y'all want me to react to. And I understand that. This allows you to get a certain engagement with certain creators. Because I even have a thing called Creators Corner that we're going to do that allow you, if you want to leave like a message in a Creators Corner, it may be me, BGS, or whoever, you could do that. And maybe BGS, we may make it so you all are going to have to get approved to get in that one, because some of y'all act like y'all don't know how to act, you know, with the back and forth. But, you know, BGS likes talking to y'all sometimes. So that's what his BGS response is. But this allows him to kind of interact in a way that he's comfortable with without, you know, people doing what people tend to do. You know, this allows other people to get involved too, like a Black Huru that don't want to do his own channel, but definitely he be in these TikTok comments giving people that work. I don't think y'all really know that. And on TikTok. And this is a way of focusing certain posts so where y'all can see information. If y'all want to engage in it, you can. this stuff that's viral and stuff. This is also a way. I'm trying to think. So there's a lot of benefits. Like we're not going to go through the whole list. I mean, what you're looking at, we're not going to go through all the lists. But what I will say is what you're looking at with my Discord is you're looking at a series of categories. So on the right, you see where it says general, geekdom corner, BBL thought corner, stats corner, today in the sphere, a lot of different stuff. Everybody hates black men. When you go into a post, what you can see at the top is there's threads, there's pinned messages. So threads would be like any threads that, like, for instance, like this is an older one. This is one, notes on Cheyenne Bryant, in which I had people aggregate information on this isn't about going after her, but like what clips that she said, what is who she is, what's the background, and had other people aggregate this for me to do a video. Pin messages are going to be, let's say we do a thing about the Gray Faulkner Initiative. We may want to message a pin message that's a link to a Google Doc of the PDF of that, so people can go through what that is and they can see that. And then the feed, and then you may have a video explaining what each one of it is, maybe a playlist, and then under that will be a message feed of people having a conversation about it. And that may be like its own thing. That may be under like building or pro-black building. That one with Powernomics, one with that. And then another thing that Discord is really great about is its searchability, which you can search like people that have posted whatever. So you can say, I want to search what Edward has posted. I want to search what Compassion has posted. I want to keep up. I want to search a certain keyword or keyword phrase. So it's easy to navigate. And here's the thing. This is from your phone. Now, obviously, we're doing this on a computer, but it has its own app. Yeah, Lewis Conner is actually, I think, the person I was talking about when it comes to listen to other people's stuff. But as far as like the chicks and the I forget, threads, whatever. I'm glad, like Twitter Space thing down Clubhouse. I'm glad I got rid of that in my head. But my point is, this is all done from your phone. And again, like I said in the video, Discord is SMS based. Discord is like, it's more like WhatsApp than it is like Facebook or YouTube. So it's its own thing. Oh, that was all I remember. The other thing that's really, really cool is you can actually do streams within Discord itself. So Discord itself has a thing called voice chat in which you can actually go on a voice chat where it's like a StreamYard looking thing. It's a StreamYard looking platform where people can be in there. Think Twitter Space, think Clubhouse, but within the server. And so people can obviously talk. You can have people, we can share videos as far as basically anything StreamYard can do, we can do within here. And you can connect this to like a greater channel and stuff like that too, as far as what's going on. And so this is why I say allow you all to, if you maybe y'all don't want to engage live, but y'all want to engage like behind the scenes and stuff. Think of it as kind of like a background, or we may have conversations that people are more willing to have. Like, let's say, with the situation with Passport Bros, people are willing to speak more frankly about what they think. Because I don't think this stuff can be recorded unless we use an outside thing to record it. But there's certain conversation can be had. It's not just on live on YouTube where if YouTube swiping and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we can there's a lot of use cases. So we can have, simply put, we can actually have panels within Discord, and we can control more because it's not a public platform like YouTube. We can actually control who sees that conversation, who gets into that conversation. Not that it would be like some Gestapo shit, but again, and we kind of get away from the community guideline shit that we have to worry about on every platform. We modulate and don't put certain things up, don't talk about certain things, because we'll get niggas' whole channels eviscerated.
Yeah, and if it was recorded, we can always edit it if we need to, as far as censor certain stuff and blah, blah, blah. So people can speak, more freely. Now, we don't need y'all dropping F-bombs and shit, because the more shit y'all do with that, the harder it is to edit. But so it kind of goes back to like the YouTube Hangout days. And sometimes it's not necessary. Like, I'm not even thinking about recording everything. It's not even necessary. It's like y'all want to go into a chat and talk sports, like what's going on with the last games. Kobe and stuff. That stuff can be talked about, and it gives you a resource for different people to can talk about different stuff and chop it up. Some of y'all want to talk about anime, we can have different conversations, and it's something that's right from your phone. Like literally, when you click in the voice chat and you click join, it's like join screen, but it's much more quicker. So, and because the way the notifications go, there's a lot of use cases, and I'll probably go into a lot of them in probably like a document, so you all can see all of the use cases, either that or in video format. But I could go on and on about the use cases. But the thing is, this is kind of that forum idea that I gave to O'Shea a long time ago that did not work, because it just is what it is. O'Shea had his hands in a lot of hats and stuff. This actually is what the evolution of that would be. And honestly, even when it comes to and in fact, while I'm doing that, let me make sure I send the Discord right now to get some of y'all in here. But ultimately, that's what it's about. And from a marketing perspective, this is going to be its own thing. This is not going to be like, so I'm going to create like a squeeze page or a page. It's going to be a whole branding around it. The initiated, whatever barbershop talk, it's going to give a feel for what people is and what it is. This is going to be like a whole thing. And we bring people in, and then we be able to kind of aggregate that in order to do some of these other use cases. So y'all will have a link, like it's going to have a domain name and everything, www.maybe-theinitiated.com or whatever, www, whatever, like a black man's version of Dice. I don't know, but whatever. Something that talks about the sphere, whatever. But it'll be a way to take it to a page. I may have a whole pitch page to say, this is what this is about. This is what is going on. Click this link to get invited. Email this email. If you don't see the link, email this email in order to get, and I'll send you a link within X amount of time, to give instructions, because I'm not going to keep the link always wide open. It will be a lot more open than when I keep mine open, but it's not going to be always wide open. So depending on who we trust and who wants to do it, we have people that can kind of, I'll talk about that. But yeah, we're definitely going to build this up, and this is going to be definitely more open than what this generally has been. Let me see. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link, and I want to see what any of you all think. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Because like I said, this isn't going to be forever. I can always do another panel with this, and we're going to see what's up. But this is not going to be, obviously, like I told you, I'm not in the business of gender warring. So real talk, like what this is really geared to do is aggregate black men, get ourselves on white page, whatever issues that a lot of dudes are having. Like, for instance, when dudes want to sit here and say, oh, well, you don't have this experience. Well, Charles is a single father. Black Huru was raised nothing but daughters. You got a lot of dudes with kids. So now you're going to have that conversation and see if your stuff holds up within that. And this is a situation where it's not necessarily we're trying to embarrass you because you're not live. And so some people may not want to go live, but some people may do this. And I'm going to keep it already real with you, just so you know, as of now, I don't even know how to record voice chats. So, and I will always make it very clear that's a possibility, but all the voice chats don't even got to be recorded. And like I said, I don't even know how to record them. So, it'll be a way of people hanging out and doing stuff like that. And it don't got to be, we'll have like maybe a weekly thing where it's like a whole big thing, and then people can get into the voice chat, any once in a while. So I'm dropping a link. So if y'all want to come up and let me know what y'all think. Obviously, Comparison Callus can still be here. Shout out to Christian Hutchinson. Should we set a standard? All members of the Discord server donate $5 to the month, cover some admin overhead. No, that's a great idea, but not right now. Because unfortunately, even if I do $1, people will this is that important to me, and this is that important in Comparison Callus, and honestly the back end benefits we can use, that may be something we do later, but for right now, the key is getting people in there and getting it engaged. And then if we can expand it to something else that if people want to participate in, they can. But ultimately, their participation, and that's a great idea. That's a great idea. But that never really entered my mind to do that, because I already know how people will be, and that'll set a precedent that other people might do. That being said, a lot of people make it so to join a Discord, you have to be in somebody's Patreon. So a lot of people do that. And there's people, like, just to give you an example, like what's his name? God, I can't stand that nigga with the weak ass dreads. You know what I'm talking about? He has like 10,000 people in a Patreon, but a Patreon is more one way. So yeah, there's ways to back in that, but people's participation is more important right now than their money. But obviously that's something that can be done later. And I'd rather save that for if we're trying to get a special guest or somebody. I wish we would have had something like this when Bernard was there. And keep in mind, this is something where we can invite people in certain servers. We can invite people to in certain situations that maybe doesn't like the space or whatever. So they can have a conversation and you can say, hey man, we got like 500 people that'll at least be in this conversation as far as watching it. So you want to really say what you think, you can say that, and then blah blah blah. But that's a great idea. But that would be like something down the road in other use cases. Shout out to but y'all let me know if y'all think something like that is important. Shout out to My Engineer Shiva Destroy. What was the event that triggered you into the point of Red Pill Rage ever ended? What happened in life that made? Okay, so first of all, you're gonna have to come up and ask me that. Because my thing is, I'm gonna keep it real with you, dog. You're asking like real kind of like you're asking questions, you're asking op agent questions. You're asking op questions. I'm not even gonna hold you. You asking me, am I red pill, black pill, blue pill? You asking me what event that triggered red pill? Why don't you lead with when you want to do stuff like that, you should at the very least lead with you saying what triggered you. First of all, I've always quote unquote been red pill, to be honest with you. Everybody doesn't go blue pill to red pill. I've always been, I was in history, AP history. And I was recruited into that because of kind of the insight that I had as far as me asking questions beyond what I was just initially indoctrinated with. Literally by irresponsible white person. So, I answered a question that, at least according to this teacher, nobody answered in like 20 years of teaching. What is time? And I answered, time is a measurement of existence. So I've always been, I don't consider myself like the most smartest person ever, or smart or genius, but I've always had that kind of eye for stuff. I didn't need to come into quote unquote red pill. But you asking a lot of those questions, like you trying to probe for something. That's what it seems like you're doing. You probing. I don't like that. You want to, what's up, Christian? I appreciate the $5, but we got to keep it all the way real. You asking probing questions. Yeah, you're on mute. Yeah, Christian, you're on mute. Just letting you know.
Sorry, but I had to turn. Yeah, how you doing, Ed? How you doing?
Yeah. Red pill is So I mean, you ask, but that probing, you asking like a lot of probing. You ask like that's your second probing question in one day. But no, I'm doing all right. No, man, I hear what you're saying on the maintenance thing. But it's more important to get people in here, and that's one less reason for people to play games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't saying it was like required, like you just add like maybe on the last day, or like maybe one day of the month, you say, hey, if everyone can donate $5, and you can maybe have like a ticker that shows people how much money is in the balance. That way, people know that people aren't going out and going to the strip club with it or something like that. I don't know. Like,
no, absolutely, man. And that's something that can be done down the road. Absolutely. It's a great idea. But I didn't, because you know how dudes are with money, because then they're going to be asking, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you have something that allows people to see how much people put in the money, they see how much is there. They're like, yeah, we have a little ticker. It's like, when you go, there's a little counter, shows how much is available, and you can do stuff. But that's just something I just thought about. So what about stuff like, y'all know if you remember, like, this is something that used to happen back in the day, was if you moved to a new city, you would go to the church, and the deacon board, you would say, oh, I'm so-and-so, I just moved into town, And they say, oh, go talk to Deacon so-and-so, he'll get you set up. He makes sure, okay, talk to this person about getting a place, go talk to this person where to get your hair cut, to get your car fixed. Like, what, so when people move to these various cities here throughout the United States, whether they're going to college, they got a new job, they're a TDY or on short assignment somewhere. They can touch down somewhere and they can hit the ground running. They don't have to spend a bunch of time building up infrastructure network to get their lives moving. Are we going to have a section for something like that?
That's going to be a good idea. Like I said, man, because I did have a section about individual cities. And so the thing about the way Discord works, you have category, right? Let me bring this back up. You have category, you have channel, and then you have posts. And then within posts, I can pin posts, or I can turn posts into a micro thread. So the way you would do it is I may have a category specifically for that. There'll be cities, and then within cities, and then you may have like a pin post at the top of each city channel of what you're talking about.
That makes sense.
And that post would really be a Google document. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a great idea, and this is taking ideas from everybody, and that's a good example of certain ideas we incorporate. Because what I said in there is not what it is, and going to be permanently. Just to give you an example of what it looks like. Share. Okay, so what's up, our Lord? Hello?
I think you dropped out. That's fast.
Yeah, so what's up, our Lord?
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, now that's me with the $5. I asked a question. I was just curious as into like what made you what you were today. There's no ill will behind that shit, I'm just curious,
absolutely.
I'm new to the channel.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. Absolutely. And I don't want to, here's the thing. This is you asking these questions actually was good about a Discord, because that's going to be under a more private thing. Then I have no problem answering the question, but you got to remember, I've been doing this for a long time. And ultimately, like real talk, as far as how I've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of people be on that bullshit. And so that's where that comes from. That ain't really you. That's just me. Now, ultimately, as far as how I came into this stuff, I've been doing stuff like this since, like, my channel has been existed since 2016. How long my channel existed? I didn't make my channel to grow it. Like and even before then, I come from the pro-black side, but we're having all these reciprocal conversations that don't lead to shit. And so, yeah, and so real talk, my whole channel is built around the black community has a culture problem. The culture problem is we're in a matriarchy. And that ain't even just to blame the women. The truth is, a lot of black men want it to be a matriarchy because they don't really want to assert the kind of control that they need to assert. It's not about controlling women. It's about controlling the environment. Because if you can control yourself and control the environment, then you can reward the women that are on our team, and you can create an environment that disincentivizes certain behaviors. And it ain't even about black men. Even when you look at behaviors when it comes to black boys, like certain things that when it comes to education, and it ain't all black women, a lot of white female meddling and stuff, a lot of that has to do with black male apathy. And so, and obviously we call out the stuff that women are doing immediately. So that's what my channel is really about. So I use social commentary, a little bit of political commentary, mainly social commentary, in order to create examples as well as my own thought process. That's what my channel is around. That's how I came to this. But I go all the way back to like 2010 to Blog Talk Radio. I'm 39, all of that stuff. I was on Hangouts with Kevin Samuels before he blew up. That's another thing I'm gonna do in this Discord. I'm gonna pull a lot of those Hangouts out, a lot of people who they were before they blew up, just to let you know, like these.
They
got them. Did the people get them?
Damn, that's crazy.
My bad. These conversations are being had. Like a lot of these conversations are not new conversations, and where the progression was. So I'm gonna have a classics channel where it's gonna have certain, like, it'll be organized in certain people and certain conversations. So it's gonna be a lot of opportunities for that, and it's gonna definitely be a suggestion box. Because there's certain people that anybody can give input, but it's people, So yeah, that's kind of how I came into all of this. So yeah, but I mean, I don't want to tell you not to be inquisitive, but you know, sometimes you don't know. So I appreciate you coming up because people be playing. They want to show a dick pic or some goofy ass shit. That shit happened back in the day. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Now I see. So you
yeah, and they
basically
shut his
call
whole. He was in
2.0.
the channel down. Yeah, and they shut down his own channel down. Yeah, I was a listener in 1.0. I was a participant in 2.0.
Okay. Now I see.
But yeah, but really 1.0, I mean, and look, 1.0 did a lot. 1.0 was like the pre-version, but 1.0 didn't really understand the degree to they just, you know, they didn't know. And so 2.0 was built really out of the dust of 1.0 once these women got their channels turned off. And you know, we brought it to where we brought it. So yeah, it's gonna be the Discord is actually for people to engage in a way that you know you can engage with people in the community as well as creators, not like this one-way conversation where you got to come up on a panel in order to have it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm gonna have probably a Z channel, like a younger channel, because Z's have, I don't know how old you are, but Z's have different perspectives. So it's gonna have and if people want to ask the hard questions, we're not afraid of the hard questions. I just, you know, you be having people coming in here trolling, and it's like, look, if you got something to think, let me know, and then we can have that debate head on. Not necessarily online, but yeah.
No, I see. So
Yeah,
I want to ask you because I'm new to your channel.
Yeah.
All right, is y'all one of them? Because I don't know. I'm in the space, but I don't know. I'm a listener, but do y'all do this anti Pookie and Ray Ray thing? Because to me, I believe that's a waste in the black community. Because I mean, by my experiences, I consider Pookie and stuff, but I want to ask, do y'all do the anti Pookie and Ray Ray thing, or do y'all do like deeper in context as to why that is?
Depends on who you're talking to. The manosphere is not a one thing. We like Athens was not the same as Greece. Like I'll give you a perfect example. Angry Man doesn't claim a part of his space officially, but Angry Man would be considered like a Pookie and Ray Ray. And look how big he is. And he has hell of. Do you know who Angry Man is?
Yeah, he came up with old boy they used to be around named Grinch.
Yeah.
I used to listen to Grinch a lot.
And I saw the Grinch all you saw me in the chat with Grinch. I shared almost every last one of Grinch's videos. I agree with about 95%. Now I don't agree with that damn dishwasher shit, but I chose not to really speak on that. But other than that, yeah. I mean, here's my thing, man. There's a difference between a street dude and a Pookie and a Ray Ray. A street dude is somebody in the streets. They may deal with the environment of the streets as a thing of them being in the streets. That doesn't mean they're not an unproductive black man. And there's different levels of what production is. And that could even be dudes that went to jail and came out of jail. I know a dude that went to jail, came out of jail, bakery where I live. The bakery that you would think white people owned it the way it looks. And it's got black people in there, like as far as they work there. But you have unproductive black men. And a lot of those get categorized in the Pookie and Ray Ray category. And here's the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is there's a lot of dudes, whether it's panders, which are not always Pookies and Ray Rays, or those can be square niggas, or it can be Pookies and Ray Rays that they want the women to be the referees. So they'll actually start, and even Angry Man had a term for that. Say, do you remember the term that Grinch had for those people? Even though Grinch comes straight up from the street?
Maggle?
Exactly. And Grinch was came from the street, went in the military. And so, and Grinch, Grinch was definitely welcomed in the space. Even O'Shea used to talk about he was on the nigga shit. So we got some architects. Now, Obsidian is not necessarily in that category. He's more like a blue collar black man. But we got plenty of dudes. Gigi was a dude that had a PhD, but Gigi would consider himself like a street dude on that sense. So we got people that would technically have part of their identity is quote unquote a Pookie and Ray Ray. That it's not about where you come from, is that situation. It's really about, because black men do need to learn how to politic with each other. So we're not on the straight anti Pookie and Ray. You a Pookie and Ray, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. No, we're not on that. But what we are on is if people start dealing with certain traits or attitudes that lead to keeping black men in a box. Like niggas want to be on some the bitches chose me and I don't need to produce or be about shit. But as long as I drop that dick, now granted, if you're dealing with women, I'm not gonna judge that. But if you sit there trying to undermine what we do, when people try to undermine what we're talking about just off that logic, yeah, that can be a problem.
No, I understand.
Yeah, NBA YoungBoy is a Pookie and Ray Ray, but you know, I got respect for what NBA YoungBoy is built. I talk about him all the time. He like the Tupac for people 30 and under. He came through here. Yeah, I actually had a video I haven't put out defending him because Yaya Mayweather is pissed off. But I'm like, NBA YoungBoy took his kids to the North Carolina State Fair. The kids were going crazy over that because he's not like an absent father. Black people are complicated, and I give them we don't do a lot of identity attack, but I can't speak for every creator. But as far as me, no. But yeah, if you're doing niggified shit, I'm gonna call that out. But you can be a square niggified shit.
No, I feel you.
Yeah, I got a term called Reagan. What is Reagan spelled backwards? Yeah. Nigga. So I ain't gonna. So if people feel sometimes, and I am completely African American FBA, and I'm not saying all niggified shit is like that bad, but you know when it gets extremely goofy. Yeah. So when people are just doing the most. Christian can speak on that too, but yeah. So no, we're not on some fuck these niggas just because they exist type shit. Most of the space isn't. But we have had arguments. We have had square niggas versus street nigga arguments, and it is what it is. But no,
to me, I feel that's the divisive though, because it's both the same thing. Like the same, like reason why I say it's like it should need to be a come together is because the fact that both of the same things affect us. Like
we can't come together if we don't have the same value system. Because there's a lot, and this is not necessarily street dudes, by the way, but there's like, for instance, your pastors are not necessarily street dudes. You have panders, they're not necessarily street dudes, although they can be, but for the most part, they're not necessarily Pookie and Ray Rays. You have people so here's the issue. The real issue is the point of just like when people say FBA is divisive, the point of the division is to force people to establish what are they really about. A lot of people like to talk. They don't want to talk about what they really believe in. They like to cloak it in this stuff that sounds good. They don't want to be put in a corner and say, this is what I stand on. And so a lot of times we got to go through all of this debate, back and forth engagement, or people doing ad hominem attacks in order to not really establish that I'm on this. And then once people admit what they're on, then they can be properly put into whatever place they are. So when people say it's divisive, division is good. I call it separating the wheat from the chaff. Like, for instance, with FBAs, people would say, well, it's divisive to say, call people tethers. But here's the truth. The truth is, when black people talk about the diaspora, they want to throw flat blackness in our face. They want to act like we're trying to take over them, even though if you want to be Nigerian. Just understand them white people see a nigga too. No, man, I'm Nigerian. Motherfucker, they hate you everywhere but in America. No, okay, cool. After decades of that shit, we're gonna do our own thing because FBA people have their own problems. Now, and people that want to deal with us and understand what we're dealing with, yeah, we'll respect you. Shout out to Godfrey. Godfrey's Nigerian.
Yeah, straight from Chicago, West Side.
So it's like, if you don't give a fuck about what we talk, same thing with like what Chicago had to deal with the academic situation. That was bullshit when he was promoting that shit. But it was only because it was only Chicago's problem. People really didn't check that shit the way they should have. With other people that's got similar experiences in other cities. So my point is, division is good. When people say divisive, usually I'm not saying you, because there's people they say that because they're concerned, and then there's people that, let's say, they're trying to argue a debate. Maybe they got a following stuff. They'll say that in order to shut down a conversation. Like they say Tariq Nasheed is divisive. I don't think so. But at the end of the day, people say what we say about the women is like the truth is the truth. If the truth is divisive, it's just another way of not wanting to talk about it. And I'm not here to say it's all black women's fault and black men, because there's things that black men need to do within their own power. And that's something that's going to go in the Discord too. Like it's going to be whole stuff talking about what black men need to do as far as their own power. But the truth is you have people, particularly our women, but not only our women, that they are incentivized to not want black men to politic with each other properly, because if they do, then we'll be able to assert more control over them. What does that mean? That doesn't mean we're going to make them and abuse them. What that means is we will reward the women that actually act like they got some senses on the team. And by rewarding the women and women, we can create disincentives for other women to not do that. For instance, Doechii is a perfect example of this. Doechii thinks she can get online and talk about straight black men are a red flag, and then ask for black men for help when a Jew has a problem with her. Now all of a sudden it's our job to save you. Fuck Doechii. Now if Kelly Rowland says that, that's different. Even if a Serena Williams says that, that's different, because Serena doesn't have a history of talking shit about black men.
Well, no, she did talk shit about her daddy, who made her who she was.
That is true, but that can kind of be let go because, it's kind of like the Jacksons and their father, or Beyonce and their father. That gets complicated. I only say that to say that we're not on some, okay, if you kissing black men's ass, if you're not doing that, then fuck you. It gets complicated. Just like what you said with Pookies, every Pookie ain't just completely fucked up or something like that. That may be a background they come from. It's more complicated. Yeah. That came out the game on some straight black, and that was real. Like that wasn't just some shit. And she said some other shit too. And there's other women too. But I can separate a Mariah the Scientist and Coco Jones from somebody like that. And that's inconsequential. But the point is, black men get guilted into you need to protect black women. All black women don't need to be protected. Black women that are down for black women are the ones that need protection. The rest of them, they can do what they want to do.
Like Ed just brings a good point. Something like this is where we could do an up and down vote on something of how we feel about it, whether it's a survey, discussion. We come up with talking points, and that gets disseminated. Because you have to understand the people who are creators who will be in this have their channels, and those talking points or those ideas are going to bubble up. So this gets a place like it's kind of like it's online, but it's not being done out in public necessarily. Like, so for instance, look at some of the stuff that's happening geopolitically or domestically right now, where we can basically say, where does the black manosphere stand on this? And we can bait it out, and we can have like 3 things that we all agree on. There might be 4 things that some sectors think this way. So like think of like politics. Republicans agree on a couple of things, right? But then you have free market Republicans, you have neoliberal Republicans. You have some people who believe there are some Republicans who believe in a large welfare state for certain reasons. I mean, there are some core tenets that they might agree on 1, 2, 3, but then once you get past that, you have splintering, and that's okay. So that's like kind of like what this type of thing.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm giving y'all an example rather than me firing up a StreamYard, and being on doing the steps that need to be done for StreamYard. This is something I could be in a voice chat. This is something he could ask this question in voice notes if he wanted. This is something he could put in text, and I can answer it in voice notes. This is something that can be completely done on his phone. He gets to it when he gets to it, and everybody can hear what I say. That's why I answered it. I'm like, this is a use case example. This is a use case example of how, so some things, like everything don't need to be content, right? So this is like a use case, or if we're in a voice chat and people ask this stuff and they got certain questions, like I'm doing this freestyle. I can do this from my phone. Anybody that's in my Discord will tell you, I do a lot of voice notes. You can listen to voice notes at like point something so you can speed through them, or if people ask me a question or that never goes online, some of the stuff I'm talking too much, I just say, fuck it, let me make a video. This is why, my stuff pops up the way it pops up, the way I kind of approach it. I can be in front of my phone because I don't have like a traditional 9-to-5 job. I don't get my money that way. So I'm, when I'm available a lot. And this is something that, or we can go in a voice chat, and if people have questions or people have concerns, and it could be something like Kobe, it could be something like Doechii, it could be, it don't all got to be serious. It's just something people can chop it up, and there's a thing behind the thing rather than people having to come up, because you came up, respect, but everybody might not want to come up for different reasons on a live stream. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm answering it in kind of the detail I am, because I'm giving you a use case example of all this being done from your phone. All y'all listening, y'all got earbuds in your phone, headsets in your phones and stuff. This is something people can listen to at work or go through the voice note. It's something, and it's going to be a variety of different topics, and people will be able to engage what those topics are. I plan on talking about a lot of building stuff too. So, because my job is to get people's perspectives on stuff, like, and stuff that's usable. This stuff will be worth paying money for, but it's going to be free because it's a lot of aggregated data on different stuff. And like I said, people can challenge stuff. Like we're not against that. Politics is coming in the year. Like what you said with the Pookie and Ray Ray thing. We can definitely have that conversation, because there are people that do have more hardcore views. Like look, I ain't trying to put accountable commentary out there, but I don't know if you listen to him, but he's more hardcore on that Pookie and Ray Ray shit than I am. He's the rat community, blah blah blah. And I do respect his content, but so everybody don't land everywhere. But as a whole group, nah, we're generally not anti. The only thing, even I say, like, niggas ain't on the gay shit in the space, but and niggas ain't on the gay shit in the space. That's like the only thing that, like, universal not fucking with.
Yeah, just like one of the main dudes, all this stuff. I rock with BGS, but I don't know how y'all feel about Homeboy, but I know him personally, but he black pilled me a lot, even though I consider myself purple pill. But y'all know a nigga named General Tito, Hardcore Tito?
I mean, yes, we know. I go back in the space. I know about, yes, I do know about Tito.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people consider him a Pookie, but actually, nah, dude. I mean, to me, dude, very smart. He taught me a lot of shit.
Tito's issue is not the Pookie thing. Tito has a different problem in the space. The reason why you don't hear people really promote Tito in the space has to do with prior stuff that happened with him, as far as they really don't even have nothing to do with the space. It really has more to do with, like, his personal stuff, like as far as legal stuff. And because of the nature of that, there's a lot of people that don't want to get tagged with that, where people will sit here and be like, oh, you won this because of this. And so, that's
Can I counter that?
That's really where that comes from. I mean, I've never
y'all rock with,
huh?
Y'all rock with Mike Tyson, right? Mike Tyson. How y'all feel about Mike Tyson?
You don't see me promote Mike Tyson's content.
But I'm saying what I mean by that is when sometimes some people get a raw deal. Like if homie did what he did, because I already know what you finna get at. If he did what he did, I would never fuck with him. With him, I see a nigga with a raw deal. Because me, I'm from Chicago.
It's not about what he did. You got to understand, man, as creators, see, this is where, like, audience members and creators and people in the middle, like Christian understands this. There are people that will use anything and everything to destroy what we're doing, and they have. 1.0 was destroyed. Like, I need you to understand that like, SWP is an example. He had like 30,000 subscribers. There are people that have subscribers and their whole shit was wiped out to the point where they quit because they wiped it out. So let's assume he didn't do that. It doesn't matter, because the way people will frame it like MTR, mediocre tutorial reviews, is pretty vanilla compared to, like, a lot of our creators. They got him on a list of, like, a crazy ass list, that the only reason that a government list that list wouldn't work because he hasn't done anything that it's so ridiculous he's on this list. The same Pearl's on this list, so it's like whatever. But the fact that they're watching him like that, so unfortunately, like, here's the thing. I built, like, where I'm at, I built for the most part on my own. I got certain people I could get, like Angry Man, O'Shea, and there's certain people to do stuff. And here's the thing, even when it comes to allegations like that, people can make a decision on what they want to do or not do. But here's the thing.
No, it seems like I bump heads. Yeah, I never thought you and him would be into it. And I ain't trying to instigate shit, but I'm just
this is why conversations like this is actually interesting. You brought this up because this is why this is a conversation better had behind the scenes.
In the
because then it's like this is my creator.
I bet.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Tito. But like I'll give you an example. I don't have a problem with Tito. I don't like Tommy. Tommy go to hell. And I've told people on my channel, if you fuck with him, don't fuck with me. Unfortunately, they don't leave. So I've kind of like got off of that. So there are people I don't like. Personally,
so
don't
you
like.
forcing people's hands to pick sides.
No. Hold on. Let me jump in. Okay, so what's your name? What do you want to be called?
You call me our Lord. That's what that's what I was. That's what I go by.
Here's a perfect example. You go by our Lord. That's not even your real name. I'm using my government. I'm not trying to bash you. I use my government name. I'm tied it. If you go Google me, you're gonna go. A whole bunch of stuff is gonna come back. You have people who are in sensitive positions or have sensitive jobs. People part of the reason why the space has difficulty growing is because of people. Like, you understand why Kevin Samuels blew up? Let's start there. You understand why he blew up?
Pandemic.
No.
I remember Kevin Samuels when he had 10,000 subscribers.
I'll explain it to you. Kevin Samuels.
I remember Kevin Samuels from 2015 when he had like.
I do too.
Okay, but you understand why Kevin Samuels blew up into the mainstream the way he did? Because Kevin Samuels basically took the stuff that Black men in the middle class, upper middle class, and affluent class were saying behind closed doors in therapy sessions, in like barbershops, in like these men's clubs and stuff like that, and he put it out in public, into public discussion. Because if you're a director at like a company, like I work for an investment bank, there's certain things I cannot discuss publicly because it's going to affect my job, and I have a family. Like I can't touch it, right? So, and people will have me come up on panels and talk. People call me I'm a data person in this space. A lot of times when I talk about stuff, I pull stuff from government websites, reputable sources, because that's what I do at work. And I say, this is published data. If people can get mad and everything, don't get mad at me. Go talk to the CDC. Go talk to BLS. Go talk to those people. You got to fight. You get what I'm saying? Like, I can tell you what's in there. I can tell you what I think about it. But so it's a way different conversation than other stuff. So the thing is, if you want to bring people in, you have to, like, we people are willing to associate, but you do have to be careful, because if you're not careful, they're going to they'll tie us all in together, and that's when you get other problems. Like, if you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And the other thing too is, I got more names than just Edward is not my first name, but it is in one of my middle names, and Anderson is my last name. So I'm willing to put shit out there more than most people are. And and this is not the first time I've been asked. It's like, it's almost like every other time I go live, it's like people have this thing. Look, I get people can like the creators that they like. I'm not here to tell people who to like, but it gets into I've seen whole beefs. For example, I fuck with Grinch heavy, but it's whole beefs that's been had over, you ain't fucking with my creator. My creator deserves to run this space. See, that is that Pookie shit, by the way. Straight up. Because then it'd be like, well, why this? Why that? And then now I got to answer something. Now a nigga want to make a video. Now I got to respond to a video. Even with the BGS thing, because that's where people are pushing it. Like, yeah, it's people that fuck with BGS heavy. But at the end of the day, people fuck with people don't. People can debate certain topics.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I said it before earlier. Other people, I got my own Discord. If people want to create their own Discord and stuff like that, that creates an opportunity for people to see certain content and certain stuff like that and aggregate in the community, and I welcome that. But it's not even mainly him. It's people like SYSBM and a general one. Like, it'd be people that we want to. When I say people, I'm talking about audience members, where they be feeling like their shit. So, like, for instance, the Black conservatives used to be on that shit. Then where they think they should control all thought of other Black men. Then it was SYSBM, and I agree with SYSBM, but that shit had to get checked. You know, it'd be like me and BGS would be a part of a group called IGMOR, called Introspective Black Men in Reform. You know, so it
Had gone forward.
And here's the thing, that energy, you have the SBE shit. And so here's the thing, that conversation is better had in a, and when I say had, I mean, like, if people want to be honest about what they want to say and when I say, and I'm not even saying I'm being honest, but I'm just talking about as far as you asking, that's a conversation that actually highlights the Discord, you know, what the Discord can do. Yeah. So people can speak very frankly. And it's not, I've always said that, but it's a lot of people I don't promote. Like, I don't promote Jason Black no more. And I used to always promote him. But when he
I ain't listened to him since 2013, 2012.
Yeah, I don't promote Corey Holcomb like that. And I don't have an issue with him. It's just I focus on smaller creators. And as far as Mike Tyson too, just to answer your question directly, Mike Tyson's a celebrity. That's not the same thing. Like, because you can't tie somebody to a celebrity as easily like that. And the stuff that Mike Tyson, you know, it's a lot of people that have complicated stuff, but you know, and people, truth be told, people could say, oh, well, you defended Glendon and da-da-da-da. Well, at the end of the day, that wasn't a legal matter. That was just a story that he told. And there was a greater reason why I did that. But ultimately,
Simple to P, the people defended Simple to P.
Yeah, and
Simple to P got a girl pregnant when he was 23 and she was a certain age.
People will bring that
but it's like people, what I mean by that is people pick and choose the morality game with certain people.
And they have that right. But they have that right. Because at the end of the day, what they're picking and choosing.
Logically, that don't add up, though. Logically, that don't add up.
Because here's the thing. People knew Sinful to P. Like, the thing is, people know certain people, and they're willing to do that. Versus other people, it's like, because what happens is it becomes this thing where people use that as a weapon. And now, do I need to stab myself? And see, the fact, this actually this shouldn't be that hard to understand. Like, it's like me co-signing stuff. Why? Because you like the person. I have people I like, for instance, a lot of people don't like Glendon. I think he's got very good business knowledge. He's got, even the way he approaches game. People don't like him. But I don't sit here and try to call people out or put them on blast. Talk about, well, why don't you like this person? And then because here's the thing. You're not going to influence people to fuck with somebody by a logical ninjutsu thing. That never works. Even if it's people that I want to do that. Like, Jason Black is somebody I fucked with. But you know how Jason Black's personality is. You know, if you listen to him that long. Yeah. You're not going to trick people into listening to him. They either fuck with him or they don't. Anton's the same way. I can see a lot of good in Anton. I can see a lot of fuck shit in Anton. I think the good overweighs a little bit of the fuck shit, given where he is. Because he has demonstrated he can learn and he can adjust his ideology on at least the things that matter. You know, some of the stuff he's just on. But at the end of the day, people going to think how they're going to think. And arguing on behalf of creative. Now, if you want to argue topics that people talk about, yeah, that's productive. And like I said, in a Discord, arguing for it on behalf of creators, I mean, there's going to be room for that. There'll be a space for that. I'm kind of answering the questions to give a real-time use case and what this stuff can be, which is why I'm kind of giving it this much time. But go ahead.
I appreciate it. I don't mean to hog all the attention and shit. You know, that ain't my style. But
no, you the only one up there. You the only one up here. The link is down there, so but I understand that too. So any of y'all want to come up, you can definitely come up. But yeah, and Christian is a good example of somebody that has a lot of information to contribute, but some of the stuff that he contributes would be better putting a barrier of entry in, which is what a Discord could be. It's not just him, Black Huru, it's Shannon Rawls, it's a lot of people. So this is what this actually can be. Like, for example, I usually by now would have 100 and like 200 people, 150 people in there, but because YouTube want to be goofy, because I haven't done a panel in a minute, YouTube want to, be stingy with the notifications. Versus if we had a Discord, I have my own Discord that I could share it in, and if I grew it, I wouldn't have to worry about that. So we get more consistent. Yeah, I'm gonna talk the whole panel, but yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. It's just like, man, people like this, like the fifth person to ask me about Tito. Like, it's like I don't know what it's about. But anyway, have you listened to the Dumper channel?
Who, me? I haven't.
You should. If you like Tito, you'll like this dude. You should. And I'm not trying to. He's not the same. It's the same. He's not the same at all. So it's not like, okay, I'm trying to take you away from him. But it's similar. He's very in the field with like his commentary. You can tell he be really dealing with these hoes for real. And that's how.
No, I feel you.
Yeah.
Hey, because I don't want to put this on public, but when I get in, if I'm allowed in your Discord, that's something I want to talk to you about concerning a certain person that certain things been outed about him that kind of conflicts the whole space. But I'm not gonna put it out here in public though.
Well, here's the react. Yeah, okay, definitely. You want to email me. But the thing is, everybody has everybody's not the same. We're all different people. We have certain things we agree on, but we're not all the same. Like the Black Manosphere is not like an ideology.
I see.
This is.
But if a certain person got certain things about them that conflicts with I don't know how you say manhood, that kind of fucks up the space if he's one of the main people in the space that's giving information.
Well,
I
that
ain't
can
gonna
be
put his name
different
out.
things. I mean, if you want to put some of that stuff in the chat, in the back chat, so I got more context, because that can mean a whole bunch of different
All right,
shit.
bet I'll do it right now.
That can be a whole bunch of different shit. Like, you know, people like, unfortunately, a lot of it, even though we have universal understanding of what manhood is, this is where people start having specific stuff. And then the way a lot of Black people are with Black men too is, do I like this person? And if I like this person, then everything else falls into context. Versus, do I not like this person? And then everything falls into context. And then, you know, but I'm curious what you're talking about. But yes.
Yeah. So again, the idea of this Discord. Have you ever been on Reddit?
No, that's usually like what a lot of going like to me that's like going to Stormfront.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you something right now. Okay, I'm going to tell you something right now. Reddit, 4chan, a lot of the stuff that we see permeate into pop culture. I see stuff born on Reddit or 4chan every day, and it makes its way out into mainstream culture within 60 to 90 days. Like, 6-7, that started on 4chan. Seriously.
Yeah, so, I didn't know that. I always wondered where that came from.
Yeah, that stuff started on 4chan. All this stuff permeates in the way that drive these sort of and the fact that the Black community in the United States, we do not have like this water cooler where we can get out, we can congregate, and we can kind of aggregate up this information, and it can disseminate and diffuse. This is how you drive. This is how you shape news cycles. This is how you create narratives.
Dang, bye.
There's all sorts of things that can happen. There's all sorts of things that can happen when you have a communication apparatus like this, because we don't have a news network. We don't have Telemundo, right? We don't have Univision. Okay, we don't have stuff like that currently. Well, this something like this is how it starts, where we can have an open communication network where people agree to come in and behave civilly. You can have, cats and dogs can live together. Republicans and Democrats can talk. We can do this, and we can have our own opinions, and these things can be thought out, discussed, and it can disseminate how people see fit. If they see it and use it, it's fine. If I say something you don't like so for instance, I think that, like I'm a basketball fan, right? I think, like, when I hear people say Steve Nash has a high basketball IQ, I think that's ridiculous, because I watch Steve Nash play basketball and I see a very terrible play. I see a very flawed player. And I can explain this very detailed. If someone who actually knows basketball, knows what I'm talking about, they might get upset, but they're like, geez, they'll say he has a point.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, man, you just hate him because he's white. Yeah, you must be a Kobe fan.
Like
BGS has a certain point of view when it comes to Shedeur Sanders, and so these conversations can happen. Shout out to B Rain with the $5. Hope y'all like the chat. Like, I'm glad the white boys at StreamYard has done a lot adding for that money. I'm trying to find the background thing. Yeah, you might just email me. I don't know, but the back, like, find this the background comment. Moved it.
You see what I sent?
I see the star. No, I'm looking for. Oh yeah, private. So this is what I would. This is what I would say to this. Number one, this person don't even make videos anymore. So the question would be, so this is what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of like, of the things that are really important, this doesn't. And here's another thing. You got this first thing, and the second thing is the person you got this from. I call this the underverse, meaning I keep myself 1 degree of separation from, for the most part, these people, with a couple of exceptions. The person at the top was one of those exceptions. Why? Because all they stay in is nigga shit. That entire sector is nigga shit, which is one of the reasons why certain people don't get fucked with within the channel or mentioned, because that's all they do. That is literally all they do. In fact, there was somebody that told me about something about a lawsuit having to do with something that didn't have nothing to do with me, and I just ignored that shit because all they do is nigga shit. There's nothing.
I see.
Yeah. And so my thing is, this person isn't even is officially not even making videos or in the space. He hasn't made videos for I think 3 months. And so it's kind of like, of all the important things that I talk about, and let's be clear, some of this stuff ain't really important like that. As far as what I'm not gonna act like everything I talk about is the most important. I talk about what I want to talk about, right? So I'm not gonna act like what I say is the most important shit to always be talked about. But of all the things that need to be talked about, it's kind of like low-key slander. And it's kind of like, when you ask somebody, are we talking about a video, or we talking about this, or we talk about just somebody's word from somebody I consider a nothing ass bitch.
Okay, so
I feel the last video he did was,
and I bring that up because of all the things to really talk about. Let's go down. So I want to go down a list of what's been talked about. FYI, we talked about where did I get red pill from, which is fine. Do I consider myself? What do I consider myself? As far as red pill, how do I feel about? And I talk very freely if you listen to my live streams. How do I feel about Pookie and Ray Ray shit? Basically, it's something that goes against the space when it comes to manhood. There's just really, I don't have any evidence to prove. I just have what your word is, and then you're saying you got this from somebody I consider nothing as bitch. There's one of these people, there's really low key one of the very reasons why women aren't allowed in the space. That's kind of the list. Just keep in mind, that's the list of things that's been talked about as far as input from you here. And that's why I'm saying a lot of times some of us are guarded because people want to drag us into stuff that I consider kind of bullshit. And it may be important to them, but ultimately, because I can tell you right now, the particular person, they're just not gonna believe that no matter what you say. Like, the general space ain't gonna believe that. They just not. Even if you had proof, they just not. And so what happens is, of all the stuff, it's like, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah, another thing too, our Lord, now we're getting to these purity tests, and like, full disclosure, I have a Chinese wife, right? My wife is Chinese. Okay, I have 2 children. I have 2 children with her. You know that this is the problem. This is a serious problem. What started happening was, when I first came online, started talking about certain things, and I was seeing certain things happen, I was telling people about very serious things that were actually happening, and they did not want to listen to me because my wife is Chinese. It doesn't matter if the information is true or not, right? And my accomplishments speak for themselves. It's just your wife is Chinese, so it doesn't count. So we can't get into that. We can't get into that nonsense because nobody, if we shine a light on anybody's stuff, nobody's going to be clean. All of us grew up in the same communities. Nobody is coming out of this place clean. Okay, so we need to we need to check all that at the door right now.
Wouldn't be secretive about what's being said. I wish that's a good example of regular, because people will do that. But when you're in a space for Black men, that will fall into SYSBM. I wish that's what it was. But the thing about it is, it's kind of like, again, it's like this goes against what manhood is, and it's like now everybody got to be accountable. Everybody's responsible to what the fuck they do, and people can make a decision at the end of the day on YouTube. Like on YouTube, the channel, like it's your job to grow. So people get in this shit and they get a little bit too hyped, especially as audience members, because I've seen a lot of beef start just off of audience members wanting they person to be they person, and then they ain't got nothing to do. So what they do is they start. Sometimes they got a battery put in their back. A lot of times they don't. And what happens is everybody got to speak on something like that. And honestly, yeah, a Discord will allow for that. But I'm gonna tell you right now, there is good debate, and there is debate that's really just. People just want to deal with stuff that really don't matter. And there are certain people that's going. Obviously, I wouldn't make that decision on my own. That'll be certain people. There's certain groups of people that determine what that is. But if certain people are considered that every time they turn around, because I've said this in both streams that I've done, I said if I think people are doing something that's detrimental to the community, like. I don't want people to be afraid to ask questions, but people know when you do this, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this creator or that creator? And this is that. They're putting me in a situation where now I'm being put in a situation where now a whole thing that's going to take a lot of my time is going to have to be dealt with, all because some person
detractors.
That's and you know, it's not even about detracted. People are human. So if they think I'm saying something, I slick did something, they want to say something else, that stuff becomes a revolving door over what? And I'm gonna keep it real with you, like any info, especially any info. I don't want to say that any information that comes from a female is invalid, but like if you've been in this space this long, that come on, man. If you've been listening to Jason Black since 2013, you got even with the people Jason Black was dealing with, you know, you gotta know that a lot of times these bitches be just saying shit. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what you know. I'm going to say that. I don't. And I'm not here to say what you're saying is wrong. I'm just going on what you said. And this ain't even about necessarily that. But what I am saying is a lot of times motherfuckers just be saying shit. They do. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't. And I'm not going to make a commentary on that. But you've been in this space long enough to know that these bitches be lying. I've had women. One of the reasons why my Discord is locked down is because people were trying to dox me. People were trying to on my own. When I did let a couple of chicks in here, there is still a couple in my Discord, and there's not gonna be women in Discord for right now. But there is still a couple that's cool. Shout out to Cali Girl and a couple other ones, Toya. But you got one chick that they come here and they always start off asking all these fucking questions. And now when you ask them questions, see, granted, you've been answering questions, so a lot of times they don't answer questions. When you ask questions, they think it's a one-way conversation. That's generally how I know they full of shit. You have been answering questions, so I'm not like on the low putting it out there. I mean, you know, he could have been trolling. He could have been trolling for all you know. And but yeah. But at the end of the day, like this thing, I've used this as like a use case example. A conversation could be had in a voice chat, in which everybody, you know, can listen to it, we can have a conversation with. But ultimately, like, man, a lot of this is like reputation destroy. It's like, you know, this, well, you know, this person is this. So what do you think about that? And it's kind of like, it all comes from a place of you should fuck with the nigga I like versus the nigga I don't really care for. They all, like, I've been in here too long to not pick up on that stuff. But yeah. I see some people coming up, but I appreciate you putting that. But it's kind of like honestly, this is that never-ending bullshit. And it always, I'm gonna tell you this too. It always comes from certain audience groups and certain clusters of channels. It always does. This is why it's certain groups that are walled off from the space because that's all they do. And it be that TikTok. We just gonna say some crazy shit. I ain't even talking about you. Yeah, black men are all broke. But and this is endless arguments. And this is not what that space is going to be about. But and it's not. And here's the thing too. This is also not a, you know, people can't come in. This ain't no thing where I'm just gatekeeping people in here. People can come in as long as they ain't doing goofy stuff, shit like screenshotting, shit like trying to sneak what other people are saying. You know, screenshot what people are saying and try to pretend to be a certain way. Like niggas be doing goofy shit, yo. And that's why I mentioned that towards the end.
Look how they backstab.
Yeah, and if I even think that's what's going on, you know, just understand people like that are gonna get found out. That's not the positive end of it because we're bringing in people that aren't really on the internet like that, and so we're not doing that. Like that's not something that's gonna happen. It's not, because people can always create their own Discord. It's free. Let's see. Where do we make? You said where do we make a discussion? That'll be created. I'll be created. That'll be created. Indianapolis. I'll create that probably tonight. That'll actually go under because I gotta reorganize what you see there. Anyway, now this is yeah. But yeah, I wanted to make this too long. But hey man. But yeah, but ultimately it's kind of like, you know, we got questions about what you know, what people are trying to do in live, what's going on in the current market, the political market. But when we get into the YouTubes back and forth, a lot of times that's a waste of time. It really is. It's just designed to just be unnecessary drama, and it always comes from the same people. That's why as soon as I'm glad you put that second name in there. That's all they do. So, but yeah, but yes. Let me see what other questions y'all got. Where did you suggestions that will be in there? It would be cool if someone, but document the history of Black Man 0.2.0 for you. Yeah, it will be. I mean, 2.0 is something I'll probably do first, but 1.0, but even that back and forth between like 1.0 and 2.0, a lot of that is people are just trying to, like at the end of the day, niggas want clout because clout leads to money. And rather than doing it a certain way, people want to just create constant situations. And it's not just one person. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like Media Man does this. Like when Media Man, you know, he tries to, you know, he'll come at the chicks too hard, and then he'll come up with some shit like, you know, ain't no matriarchy or passport bros, you know, like Anton did. So it's not just the same people, and those would be like square people. He said, "Hey, everyone, you know." So people do it because at the end, there's money. There's money to be had. You know, 1,500 views is $10. 15,000 views is $100. 150,000 views is $1,000. There's money to be had. And once money got introduced into the space, you know, it is what it is. You know, but yes, he said, what's the Discord? I'm gonna drop the Discord one more time and give y'all one more chance to come in here before we end. Because, you know, I'll do further streams with it. Oh, the other thing, I can't believe I blanked on that. Let me give y'all the server invites, because that's really the main reason why I did this. So we're gonna do this. This link is just for y'all right now. So this is gonna be 30 minutes and 50 people. And I'll give certain people.
Hey Ed, I got a quick question.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Hey, as the space become more mainstream, should we be more secure with the space and learn how to gatekeep it from certain people they won't?
It's a good question. You can't gatekeep people off of YouTube. I mean, ultimately,
I know, but you could say that they're not part of us.
Well, I mean, like some of the names that you're saying, I mean, like, again, some of these people, they don't disclose their intentions until, I mean, again, like the manosphere is just like-minded black men. And so if these people are black men and they're like-minded, I mean, they could be you can't gatekeep them out of being black men. And because some of these people I don't even like. But at the end of the day, and by the way, like one person I would consider letting in here, the other one I absolutely wouldn't let in here because of some of the stuff he has said, and some of the stuff he has done. But the one person, like I think the top dude I would consider because he's been antagonistic to this place, but at the end of the day, he is a black man, and at the end of the day, he hasn't said nothing absolutely crazy. He just always thinks he's trying to hold you accountable. So that'd be good debate. But the second person, no, I wouldn't consider, and I would veto that shit. And I'm not gonna veto most people. Like it's like even if I don't like them, but certain people they've said stuff like beyond the pale. And yeah, so it is what it is. And but you do the best you can. But at the end of the day, I mean, because here's the thing: the person I mentioned, there's people I fuck. The second person, there's people I fuck with. They fucked with this person.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we're not this This ain't the mafia, man. This is an idea thing. This is a community. And just like how people be wanting to say somebody black and somebody not black, I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody want to claim that, yeah, you could disclaim. Again, this is not a hive mind in that way.
No, I see. Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is that
it's a good question.
Look at what's happening with the Passport Bros. if they had gatekeep dude Floyd, that would have never happened the way it did.
Floyd claimed he
Now,
wasn't a passport bro. That wasn't the issue. The issue is people have an incentive to not want black men to travel. Any black man that travels a passport. It doesn't matter what they
now
say.
it's been labeled as a criminal organization at the whole movement.
It's not. Because if it was, then they would have arrested people already down there. It's not. That's just.
I know it's not, but it's the propaganda that they're spreading.
Exactly. You can't. But propaganda can only be countered with regular information. But again, the thing with Floyd was never a passport bro. Like that's the thing. Austin is the one that brought Floyd into that. Like, and keep in mind, like everything. I want you to really pay attention to every question you've asked me. Almost has had me to actually address an actual content creator. So, and you won't be accountable to that. You'll be just a random person that came here asking questions. I'm accountable to that because I have a platform.
I ain't trying to steer the pot though. I'm not trying to steer the pot.
I know,
but
people got to be aware that it inevitably does. And so, like again, this is why a Discord is way more valuable for this because now I don't have to deal with that consequence in the same way. You see what I'm saying? I'm also talking to like the group, the audience. This is where certain conversations can be had because clearly you want your answer, but this is a way for content creators to not be on the hook for certain shit, you know, that is not necessarily your fault because you clearly have the question, but it gives more room to answer that. And that's kind of what I'm highlighting with what a Discord can do. But ultimately, with quote unquote passport bros and Floyd, white men do crazy shit like that all the time. And white men are not labeled. With white men, it's always an isolated incident. With black men, it's everybody. What needs to be understood, and to be fair, black women, for the most part, ain't been coming down on it like they could. Like, you know, as a propaganda thing, I will acknowledge that. But what needs to be, because I'm just going to keep it all real. The shit Floyd did, black women be doing all the time in Jamaica. When black women do goofy shit, that shit ain't never, it's always an isolated incident. It's never reflective of all of them. The fact that one random ass nigga that nobody knows, truth be nobody, because I didn't know who that dude was, and you can't find a panel with me on him or anybody I associate with on a panel with him. But yet somehow we all got to speak for that. Black women never have to speak for all that. No, in fact, fuck black women. Nobody has to speak for one person like that. That is you. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Christian. Please correct me if I'm wrong. In the chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Nobody has to speak for, like, that motherfucker that murked Charlie Kirk. All white people didn't got to speak for that shit. That's like an isolated, unfortunate incident. Let that motherfucker been black.
Part of the red pill and the part of the black pill is understanding your position. Black men are, especially American black men, are in a certain position in which, ever since the days of slavery, if one nigga do something, we all gotta answer for that shit.
Yeah,
understanding that position, we have to be more careful of our optics.
But so, all right,
and we have to learn how to cut niggas off.
No. Because hold on, I'm gonna say this, Christian. I'm gonna let you rock because that requires me taking away people's autonomies. That requires, because what you talking about is going to require. It's not just words. That requires me actually doing something to somebody. Because there is no words that can, if people want to say something is something, there is no words that can fix that. That requires me stepping into somebody's autonomy. That requires me saying shit like, Floyd, you say you a passport, bro, something's gonna happen to you. And that's something no, straight up. Like, and see, that's what I'm saying, man. Yeah. See, I want to understand, like, I'm just telling you, you one of the questions you asked was, are you against Pookies? Understand your thought process of all these questions are indicative of somebody of a certain of that comes, like, your worldview, thought away your vector and stuff is of that. Like, because other people understand all you can do is say what you stand for and aggregate that. Because the truth is, everybody can say he a passport bro. That don't mean shit. Like he can, like white people say they're passport bros. Like really give me a use case on how would you, if Floyd was content, if Floyd got a passport bro tattoo, which Austin did do, but people validate our sense of passport, bro. If Floyd, because I know the person actually created the word. If Floyd did that, and then he said he's a passport, look, he shows off his tattoo. What could you do to stop him?
Shit, just let it be known. That goofy ain't part of us. We ain't rocking with him.
Most black men are not criminals. That doesn't mean you don't hear white boys saying 50%. That educated. That don't mean they don't.
That's storefront propaganda. Like, if anything, the biggest criminals in this country, we all know, is white men. Most of the murders and most of the biggest drug dealers, most of your connects are white men and Latinos.
But are they considered but again, you're talking about what you believe versus what's established understanding.
Yeah.
The stats prove.
Yeah, so
the stats prove that black men aren't as big as criminals as even the FBI statistics.
That have nothing to do with propaganda.
Okay,
our
Lord,
I know.
Go ahead, Christian.
Our Lord, I'm going to say this very respectfully. You sound very scary right now. Okay.
Scared of who?
No, you sound very scary. This is why we have to have our own communication network, because you're thinking of all the ways this is going to go sideways. And see, this is what happens. See, when you have a website like this, it's essentially a platform. People are allowed to have free thought, free and open thought. Okay. If someone does something that is illegal, talks about something that's illegal, does something where we think that will put the platform at risk, they're just removed from the group. That's it. Then you say, you know what, you got to go. That's it. It's very simple. You getting into the back and forth of this this click doesn't like that click. That's very soft work. Okay. Go on the Discord, engage in the conversations. That's all you have to do. There's going to be mods. There are mods. The purpose of the mods is to protect the platform from being implicated in things that would put it in legal crosshairs. Now, something that's unpopular, guess what? People say things that are unpopular sometimes. And if that's what you say, you got to be willing to be able to deal with that. I say things that are unpopular sometimes, and you got to deal with that. So what?
I feel you. Because what I'm saying is that this space is becoming more mainstream. And what I'm saying is I don't want to get to a point in which when we become super real big, it's something as simple as that. They can knock down a house of cards.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point of what we do is aggregate black men. That's the point. So really, only opinion that really matters is black men. And everybody doesn't have to be a card-carrying, gang-banging manosphere member for them to be valuable. Because people have different value and stuff they can contribute. That's the mission. That's really what the mission is, to aggregate black men and then get black men on the same page. Black men understand that every motherfucker overseas ain't doing that, because most military people are overseas. As far that's what predates that. So a lot of what you saying, this is where Christian talk about you scary, is you worry about what other people think. And you talk about mainstream. Well, it doesn't need to be mainstream. There's actually consequences to stuff going mainstream. Kevin happened to have almost gone mainstream, but to do what we need, that's already done. They can't undo that if they wanted to, truth be told. But understand that I don't know where the through line. I don't know if you're just throwing questions at me or what the through line with this is, but we're talking about a Discord in private. That's what the point of this is. The point of this is not okay, it's the manosphere, it's the space, it's all that. No, just like how I don't know where you're from, I'm not gonna ask. But if you're from New York, I don't care if you're a street nigga from Chicago. You ain't got nothing to do with them motherfuckers from New York doing. Let's say if them motherfuckers from New York beat women. That don't you got to speak on it. No, that's what them niggas from New York do. If somebody hit my sister, they gonna get blown away. I don't have a sister. I'm just giving you an example. Different. Niggas in the South don't speak for what niggas motherfuckers always talk about. What about Chicago? Niggas in the South don't speak for that. Just like invert. It's like now, even if you both claim, even if people claim Pookie and Ray were street dudes, niggas from the Chicago ain't got nothing to do with the baby mama epidemic in Memphis. But what happens is everybody understands this, but the only thing that matters really is what black men think in regarding to this Discord. Nothing else really matters. They can say what they want to say about Passport Bros. That's just a name. Again, truth be told, if any black man that believes that shit, that tells me who they are and what they really on. If you believe that black men, here's the thing, knowing knowing R. Kelly and knowing all the dudes, statistically, dudes that are on the type of time that Floyd is on would never lead a country because it's not their environment. They don't control that environment versus people control the environment where they are, or at least they have a sense that they do. That's common knowledge. Anybody claims to have a degree, anybody claims to even understand this, understands that. So if people want to believe that niggas are just going overseas just to do that, now keep in mind, they never say white people, white dudes or Hispanics, which they do that way more because their ideas of age and consent are different from what black men's are, but we know what they're on. And they can say what they want to say. It's not going to stop shit. They said a lot of shit about Kevin. It didn't stop shit. It was only his heart that stopped him. They even tried to lie to other celebrities. You had Royce the 5'9", and you had and I'm giving you an idea of what it's going to be like in this thing if we do a voice chat, or what a voice going to be like. This is why, for y'all in the chat, this is why I'm communicating like this. You had Royce the 5'9", you had Charleston White, you had dudes that publicly apologized because they went at Kevin because women were sending them the shorts that was making it look like Kevin was just dunking on these chicks for no reason. And when they finally sat and watched the individual video and they saw what led up to it, after they saw the celebrity women like Nicki Minaj or other women wasn't cussing him out, or what's that other chick that was on Ink Crew didn't cuss him out, they're like, okay, well, the women at my level ain't popping off on them. So what's up? And they watched it, they realized these chicks lied. These chicks are lying. And so it don't matter. Our mission here is to get black men on the same page. If these women want to lie, that tells us who they are. If men want to believe them, because truth be told, if we put the right information for black men, most of them will believe it if we got proof, unless they already on what we know what they on. So it don't matter. Mm-hmm. It don't matter. So yeah. So I mean, yeah. So, but as far as the Discord, you know, here's the thing: when it comes, like, I'm gonna have a black travel section. I'm not gonna have a passport section, section, because it's not about being a passport bro. It's about traveling, and we need to get back to basics on why you should travel. In fact, I want you to know why you should travel ain't got nothing to do with a bitch. Because of course you gonna deal with bitches if you're overseas. Of course, that I don't have to tell you that. But the question is, why else would you want to travel? What else is the benefit? What's the value? You know, the live overseas people versus go back and forth people, and have a real conversation. And I want to get people to engage on certain stuff because we can give them statistics, experiences, real case experiences. Christian has his, I have mine. That's what something like this is gonna be about. You know, like I think they talk too much about hoes when it comes to traveling. That's one of the issues. But at the end of the day, we can focus a real conversation and aggregate people so people know this is where the real information is, not the I'm trying to play off YouTube bullshit. Yep. You know, maybe, you know, so somebody was telling me about fucking the capacity callus before he left was talking about, and yeah, the people telling me what's called in the chat. Look, I said everybody in the chat, everybody in the thing ain't gonna be somebody I necessarily care for. If people act like they got some sense and you want to debate hard, you can. But if they act like they got some sense, not doing some name calling just for the sake of name calling, then yeah, they can be in there. This is not for me to be. I'm not gatekeeping it like that. Not like in the sense of if I don't like you, you automatically not in there. You got to be deemed as somebody detrimental to like what we trying to do, and that's a high bar for me to say that. That's a high bar, and if I say that, it's gonna be other people that agree with it because I'm not gonna make that decision on my own. So I appreciate y'all letting me know, but he can be in there because I'm gonna have chats. For people, if people want to really go in and really debate and do what they want to do, yeah, there's going to be room for that. There's going to be chats for that, and they will be participated in. You know, it's going to be something for everybody. You want to talk about sports? Cool. You want to talk about game? Cool. You want to talk about certain controversial issues? You know, we'll see. Personally, I wanted to have a thing about guns, but we kind of decided against that. You know, we had decided against that. Power tools, but you know, a whole bunch of niggas in a group, and they talk about power tools. Oh yeah, that's going to be, you know. So everything, we may have to do another Discord down the road, but some people wanted to bring women in. Nah, we'll do another Discord down the road to be a co-ed. If this one gets where it needs to get, that way it'd be a separation. Let's see if there are any disingenuous. There are any willfully he was trying to. Yeah, I mean, and people. What's up, chaos? What's up? You can't stop the idea. It expanded too far. You disassociate with yourself from groupies. Yeah, you can disassociate yourself from groupies. But what happens is people like to use. This is the bigger issue is whenever black men gather together, people like to use certain tactics to basically destroy all black men. They try to lump all black men together, and that's a common tactic. And that just tells me who these people are. Like if you see black men doing that, because nobody has never really given me an honest answer as to why they have a problem with black men traveling. Oh, black men make people look bad overseas. Well, why you care? You don't go. So it'll lead to a lot of interesting conversations in Steel Sharpen Steel. I definitely want to aggregate people for TikTok, but it'll take time to build it. But I think we can build it. He's a dang one. Yeah, like that's something that's still being talked about, but we got to figure out how to do that in a way that doesn't shut down the channel, like with the power tools thing.
No, I feel you.
He said we have people in the space doing IT training, therapists, PhD travel. Yeah, absolutely. And there will be stuff that'll aggregate certain stuff like that. I don't want to make this a be all and end all for everything, but this definitely can spurn from like other stuff. Because I do want to. There's a lot of information like, Compassion and Callous has a thing about government contracting that he actually does. So there's a lot of opportunities for a lot of stuff. Again, shout out to B Rain for the $50, super chat. So yeah, I mean, I can answer the questions. I mean, it's not like
Fine. What's 17 more?
Like this one.
Negativity can be like an addiction.
That shit never gets old.
I'm a win.
Yeah. Yeah, and Christian, they asking about a tech channel. So we got other people. I know you're a resident. So I'll, see what we need to do for that.
There's probably there's probably this would be something. I think there's also a lot of people who work with the tech stuff.
Yeah, it'll be other people.
Yeah, but
yeah, we are. But somebody asked if there's gonna be a tech channel. Yeah, there's gonna be. So again, like I can do categories, I can do channels. So a channel has a whole feed. So a channel can have pins and micro threads. A category can have channels. So for tech, I could do tech and then do networking, crypto, job opportunities, black men to be looking for certifications. But I'm not a tech expert. So they're like Christian, Mook, there's other people that can be. And we will definitely do like forums. Because this stuff will shift at first a little bit. Some of the stuff in there initially is just so you can know what's possible. Because so there will be tech. This is another thing. This is meant to have conversations people want to have. This is not necessarily based on what is going to grow a channel. Because I can always create something else for other stuff for that. But that's not what that's for. This is actually I want this to be informative as much as anything. And aggregate what's in the space and certain expertise based on what people want to talk about. Because it's not like one feed. Everybody can participate in different feeds. Like I have people that participate in my Geekdom feed, people that participate in my Front Sports feed. Like they're the main people for that. Everybody participates in general. I have a woman's sphere. So I may have one where it's a woman's channel where we aggregate like stuff that the chicks are saying. It's going to be a general thing that if people don't know, because everybody's not going to be experts on where to put everything. And I can forward it, that stuff from where that is or do whatever. So it's going to be good. It is going to be good.
Oh, that's something we have we have like a React channel. Like whenever we have a React channel, like so clip like when something's going around, we could have like a React channel where everyone leaves a voice note for their reaction.
Yeah, that. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. Appreciate the Cash App. Appreciate the $5 Cash App from Blessed Man. So yeah, so this is kind of like the first thing, just kind of like the launch. Like I said, I see y'all came in there. I'm gonna be putting links in there for me. It's gonna be other people that had the capability of sharing links. Eventually, you know, you want to get people that you know, and then as it builds up and you see it form, you'll have an understanding of what we're trying to do. This is supposed to operate, and that's another thing I forgot. Christian, you know, he deals with Reddit a lot, so he'll have a good understanding as far as how this stuff can go. So everybody has everything, something to contribute. And then, like I said, if we get like 1,000 people in there and it's heavily engaged, like we get 2,000, we can do some really cool shit. Like really, rather than being reactionary, people giving their opinion. You know, so if something's going viral, somebody saying some good, like for instance, our Lord said, you know, what do we do as far as setting the record? We can set the record straight. See, the difference is what we can do is if somebody's saying some goofy shit, we can actually go to their link and then comment bomb them, not in like a bullying way, but we say, hey, we see you. Here's like the real information on stuff. This. And then, you know, they either got to address down, they want to remove their comments and be stupid. See if it's a whole bunch of comments, they're not going to be able to remove everybody's comment. But my point is that will be able to alter that conversation. And obviously, if they want to remove comments, we say, look, I left this. This is what they removed it with. There's ways of addressing that stuff. Or we can make a video about it. And then here's another thing. Here's the other thing. If we need a video to go viral, imagine if you had like 6,000-7,000 people and, you know, these people are liking the video, we might be able to algorithm hack. And even if we can't do that with YouTube, we might be able to do that with TikTok. So that creates options. And this also allows for smaller creators that have strategic value, whether it's like Only Logical, Dump, or others, to get certain ideas out there or values from creators that we really fool with. Let's say Chizza Zed does a good video, MTR does a good video, even Anton does a good video, whatever. You know, this allows us to kind of do different stuff. So this creates a lot of possibilities and a lot of use cases. And obviously everybody can, like, people can create, like, I'm going to do information on what we learn about Discord. If everybody want to, you know, do their own thing, Patreon, all of that, you know, so certain creators can kind of benefit, because I get it. You know, a lot of people want to make money. I'm not here to say they're not, but this will be a thing that allows for more activism when it comes to this stuff. That's what the goal is. That's what the vision is for, you know, I should have pinned the Discord link. So it is coming. And so, yeah. I mean, any other thing before I let you go, Christian? Because I'm about to end it. We did 2 hours, like I said.
I'm good, but yeah, thanks for getting us started. Hopefully, we can it could be start something kind of cool. So we'll see how it goes. 2026.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize mine was around for 4 years. I didn't realize mine was around for 4 years. I didn't realize mine's been around that long. You said finance and insurance. That'll be under business. Like I said, we'll do a thing of what we want to do. Yeah, Chaos, you're kind of like late to the thing. You might not want to keep women out. Some guys tend to switch up. I'm gonna tell you right now, the way that's gonna work is if it gets to a certain level, I may do a survey and a poll. And if we do a poll, is women will be put into a new Discord. We will do another Discord that will be that. And even that, I'm going to control what women, because that's going to be for like the Black Female Accountability Department. That's not going to be for people, because anybody coming in there with that ultra questioning shit, because again, people want to play. People want to play and people feel how they feel. And it's like, if how you feel doesn't align with what I'm trying to do or what this up, I'm not even going to have this discussion. I did this to let you know I can have it, but just because I can have it doesn't mean it's always appropriate for me to have it, because again, you know, creators, like Christian understands this, but creators understand it's certain level of accountability of what you say and what you do. And niggas and dudes a lot of times want to charge that off to you. You just ain't being real. And it's like, yo, we're not playing that game. We're not. Y'all know how to act. You know, this how I feel shit. You know, no, it's not gonna be like that, because that tells me people ain't really focused on what needs to be focused on, which is actually growing some shit. They focus on like, I need to get this, you know, other person on, and we see that in the space. That's why I keep coming back to mentioning that stuff. But with that being said, I mean, people have legit questions, but yeah. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. Like this, you know, women don't, you know, Yeah, I agree with that. There's a male space, there's like a co-ed space, and a lot of that really had to do with not bringing women in. But there's a couple of women that they've been around and they haven't done anything over years. But this will definitely be a man only male space for now, and nobody's like pushing for that. So we definitely need to have a fitness part too, as well. So it's gonna be a lot of good stuff. So anyway, y'all, with that being said, I appreciate all the donations and all of that. We will make it real. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.